It's the Luton Town Show, brought to you by the OK Football Show. Today, I'm your host, Phil Macbeth, and I've got my guest speaker.
There we go. I'm back.
That's not right.
Wait!
It's the Luton Town Show, and guess what? We're talking about
Cheers.
a win. Yay! Wow, it feels like a long time since...
It's been a long time.
A long time. Long time. Like, I think the last win must have been...
December 20th, I think it was.
Derby.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
before
God.
pre-Christmas.
Long.
Long.
I feel bad for Matt Bloomfield because he's waited so long. And remember that tail end of really piss poor form just before Edwards left as well.
Yeah. I mean, you could see in his face that he was going around like a kid at Christmas after the game yesterday on the side of the pitch. He was absolutely loving it. And that's a big hoodoo off his back, I think, because there were people like myself, I'll admit, where I thought this poor sod might not get a win this season with this particular squad. Yeah. So I'm really pleased.
I think
for him.
Ryman said that as well in the match preview. He said, I can't see him getting a win all season.
Yeah.
Take it, Ryman.
Me too. Sorry. But it was really, really nice to see. I think above all else, the things that I took away from yesterday was the fact that we did battle. And it was a very attritional game. There was some pretty close to the bone tackles that took place. I think that from Pompey. From Pompey, yeah. I think Sam Allison had one of the... I mean, he's just a terrible referee. I think anyone that entered into that stadium yesterday, no matter what lens you look through, whether you're a Luton fan or Pompey fan, everyone universally thought he had a bad game, which is quite a talent to be that bad from both points of view.
I was defending him pre-kickoff as well. Like, people were like, oh, God, we got Sam Allison. I was like, he's not so bad.
No,
I changed my tune.
Yeah, he really is.
Really
he just misses simple things, and he's just...
Like the pen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
At least he got like instant retribution.
Yes. Yeah, instant. Oh, that was so good, wasn't it? Let's be honest. There was the goal, which was a moment of elation yesterday, but the reality was when you saw Sam Allison get absolutely spammed in the cranium, you had to go, yeah, fair enough.
He bounced straight back up.
Yeah, he did.
Wonderful.
And I think that he was just like, do I give a decision? Where's the ball? Where's my own head? Like, I don't think he knew what to do. But yeah, there was some robust challenges yesterday. I thought that there was a couple of shouts for borderline red cards. That it was actually, ironically, it was Liam Walsh that suffered those particular fouls.
Oh God, I was so worried about him because he's been a decent player.
He has.
I think it was Dazelle tries to remove his leg.
Yeah.
And then Jacob Murphy just clattered into him on the touchline
and then
right in front of Bloomfield.
He doubled down, didn't he? Like he got sort of right into him on the floor as well. It was. I mean, for me, I felt a little bit sorry for him, even as an opponent. I felt a little bit sorry for Marlon Pack. He's obviously going at centre back because he's had to, and he's the captain of the team and everything like that. But he's not a centre back. Like he's absolutely not a centre back. And he was just grappling with Morris. He was all over him. No matter who got sort of tight to Pack, I think he knew if anyone span him, he was done. But in a weird way, it's the sort of thing where you're like, right, at least he understands his faults and he's trying to go about it, whereas you've got people like Mads Anderson for us who would just get spun. So yeah, I kind of think fair play to him for filling in that particular gap. But yeah, there was some nastiness, but ultimately we got it over, and we scored a goal from open play, Ollie.
Yeah,
goal from open play.
A hell of a goal that was.
It was good.
Away. We haven't even introduced the show yet, so yeah, we're in the beer and breakfast in the Bricklayer's arms, and we're just overwhelmed because we're talking about a win.
Yeah,
we can't.
We don't have this.
Yeah,
so
we don't know what to do.
Yeah,
so
the clocks are nearly changed. We're talking about
the running order's gone out the window. And do you remember that time a few seasons ago when we were in League One and we went like from clock change to clock change without losing? It's like that.
It's the opposite way around. Yeah, it's the opposite way around.
Oh God, it's been
a winter, hasn't it?
It's poor. Yeah. So the goal, brilliant play from Jordan Clark, and there were a few worried people when his name was on the team sheet, thinking he can't really play in the double pivot holding role, but and thinking maybe him and Liam Walsh in that holding role was a bit lightweight. There was no ball winners, but
I think that
tremendous.
I can understand that from a stature point of view. I think that when you
they're both tiny.
Yeah, exactly. And when you're thinking about, like, they had Isaac Hayden, that was in the centre of their midfield, and you kind of think anything that goes up into the air, you'd expect Hayden to be dominating. But one thing I will say about Clark and Walsh is that they're ratty and they're sort of getting in and around you, and you're not going to really outmaneuver them. They're both very nimble of foot. So I thought that actually it worked quite well. And I've always been a pretty strong advocate of Jordan Clark. I was talking to Mark Brockway yesterday, who formerly did our sort of super question of the week, and we were both discussing about how we personally think that Jordan Clark gets a bad rap because he's ultimately a very, very good footballer, and because he's got ideas and because he tries to be progressive, he will lose the ball more often than some other players. Mm-hmm. But he hits the eye right. He's a good footballer. He's, like I said it earlier on, he's nimble of foot. He's mobile. And when he's in the team, I like it. I like it when Jordan Clark's in the team. So I was really, really pleased that he was such a pivotal part of that particular goal yesterday. And I think when you look at the performance over the course of 90 minutes, he was excellent. He was really, really good. He was one of those ones that held that performance together, and you could see when I know Morris only went off for like the last 4 minutes of injury time, but he hanged over the armband to Jordan Clark, and
I was hoping when that happened, I was like, please not Amari Bell.
yeah, it was one of the captain crew, but yeah, I thought that Jordan deserved it, and I thought he played thoroughly well. And like I say, I'm always pretty pleased when Clark's in the team. And actually, I listened to Bloomfield after the game, and he said about that spine of the team. And yesterday, when you look at who got man of the match, Cal Naismith got man of the match. You got Walsh and Clark, very good footballers in the middle, and then you got Morris that tries to stitch play together at the top. And I thought that it worked yesterday. I don't want to sugarcoat something and say that we were exceptional, because it was ultimately, like I said earlier on, it was quite a scrappy attritional game, but we got the goal and made that count. And it didn't give me a huge amount of confidence moving forward, so I'm going to be really brutally honest, and I don't want to sort of be the party pooper, but I think if we'd played weirdly like we did against the loss against Sheffield United and we'd won 1-0, I'd be sitting here in a lot more of a sort of positive mindset. But what I will say is the battle and the commitment that we showed, I was absolutely really pleased with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you need the win is more important than the performance.
At this stage, 100%. And yesterday, I think that the general consensus around the ground was, if we don't win today, that could be that, because our fixtures aren't particularly kind. Those that are around us that we got to play, we're playing away from home. Yeah. And let's be honest, we know that our away form is dreadful. But if we get the opportunity to go to an away team and get involved in a match like yesterday, where we have to battle, we have to scrap, then anything can happen. And that sets us in good stead. But like I say, we've got some really tough fixtures coming up. So we'll just have to sort of keep going and see if we can scrape a few things together before the international break.
A couple of words on Chris Makoso, because Bloomfield said the spine of the team was very very experienced, but then you have Makoso out on he was playing
sort of right-sided,
and for me, he sort of had a touch of the Leon Barnett's, and I said it in my post-match reaction. It's wonderful seeing a player that mobile, that fast, and he did a job of right back as well. Because I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I felt when we made the changes and Doughty went off, we went 4-5-1, didn't we?
Yeah, I'd say that he played a bit more.
Like a 4-5-1. He played more as a right back, and then he had a touch of the Emerson Boyces as well.
Well, it's interesting. We're rattling off all these old former players that have been fantastic defenders for us over the years. And the guy that I sit next to in the main stand, he was like, "Do you know what? He's got the odd little mistake in him, but he's like a young, raw Curtis Davis as well." So
he had too many mistakes in him to be Curtis Davis. There were times when in the first half when he tried to send the ball back in, just completely air shot it. And there was another one when the ball was going, it was a cross-field ball, and I think he tried to get to it, and he just completely missed it.
Yeah,
there are mistakes in him. He's raw.
Of course,
like he's 2021.
Yeah, and he will make mistakes, and ultimately though, he's a proper defender. Like, not necessarily a ball playing defender. I'm not expecting him to spray balls out left, right, and centre.
Wins his tackles,
but he wins his tackles. He wins his duels as well. I mean, that I think it was when he was there was 2 instances. There was the one against Josh Murphy where he was on the left hand side, running back towards the Kenny. And he was absolutely keeping up with him, which, truth be told, I would argue that the entirety of the rest of our backline would have been roasted by him.
Can you imagine Mads Anderson doing that?
Well, I can. And I can imagine the gap getting wider and wider and wider.
And but Murphy converging on goal.
Exactly. And then the other one was towards like Block F in the second half. And I remember seeing him, and it was almost like he was sort of trotting. And I said to my neighbour in the stands, I was like, he has got some gears. I was like, this is towards the end of the game, and he's still got so much more to give. And it was almost like he was toying with them. So, yeah, I think that if he has to do a job as a stout defender to outpace someone, put tackles in, and then ultimately just tell him, give the ball to Walsh, give the ball to Clark, like just. Get the ball away from your own feet. Do your job. But no, I think that he was unfortunate not to get man of the match yesterday. I think that he had a thoroughly good game.
I think Naismith deserved it. He adds something so much, different. It's something that we've been missing. And while we don't have Tom Lockyer, he is exactly the person that you need there.
Yeah.
Because the communication, the way having Makose playing next to Naismith was perfect.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
And he gave him so much direction. It's a shame that we struggle to get Asgard into the game so much. Like, he has to sort of go and seek out the ball, and then he's not in the positions where he can actually affect the game. Yeah. Jacob Brown, to be honest, the way it was with Carlton was dropping so deep to try and affect the game as well. I don't know what Jacob Brown really offers the team. Like, you tried to convince me.
I did, yeah,
and I
still like to, I still like to convince you now. I think Jacob Brown's remit yesterday was run your absolute nuts off. Make sure
touch the ball though.
Yeah, but you don't have to touch the ball.
I'm going to have a look.
I'm just before I make this comparison. Please don't laugh. That's fine, right? Like, look at how the game went, right? So.
He made three passes. 3 out of 5 passes.
It's fine. Look at how much work he got. Now tell me how far he ran in 55 minutes. Get that start.
I don't.
There you go. So you don't have it when it's against your argument. But the point is that I felt like his remit was to run your absolute nuts off. Make sure that Pompey can't play the ball around the back. Make sure that they don't get time on the ball, and make it difficult for them. Now look at how much different Luton's performance was in the first half compared to the second half. And look at the possession stats from the first half to the second half. In the first half, it was much more of our game. I do think it was one of those games where it was a game of 2 halves. I think that we were the ones that were more likely to score in the first half. And that came from closing them down, winning those knockdowns, because they were having to go long. They weren't able to find the likes of Ritchie, who was trying to make some clever sort of inverted runs. They weren't able to get Murphy in the game. Now, as soon as Brown got a booking, now, he was going around, you're right, he didn't make necessarily too many passes, but you cannot fault the fact that on that breakaway for the goal, he was right with Jordan Clark. He was the one that he laid off to. He bolted up the whole pitch, right? And he just ran. He was on his backside a lot of the time, trying to like make slide tackles and trying to sort of win those little duels. But the point is that I loved that fact that he was working his nuts off yesterday. And then when we took him off, and this isn't me trying to criticise Ali, he's still finding his feet for Luton Town and this level, but they had the vast majority of the possession in the second half. And truth be told, I don't know how many times you saw it from where you sat, but their left back and Marlon Pack, the amount of times they pinged the ball out to the right hand side, that didn't happen in the first half. It didn't happen maybe once or twice, but it just wasn't happening because Brown was ratting around up front, trying to stop them being able to pick those passes out. So regardless of what the stats are, I think that he deserves some credit for absolutely working his nuts off yesterday. That's my viewpoint, anyway. And I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, that you don't feel like he brought that much. But truth be told, I think he did his job, and I thought he earned his wages this weekend.
Yeah, well, significant wages if you believe Capology.
I won't go into that one. but he like I say, he earned it this weekend, I think.
Yeah, well, I can run around if they want to pay me 25k a week. It's nice, easy life, isn't it? Yeah. Well, Pompey did have chances, and I thought Ogilvy was a hell of a player. He's one that we were actually linked to a few years back. And seeing this is actually the first time I've seen him in years. I haven't seen him since we were going around League 2, League 1. Great player. Really good left back. Very old school left back.
Proper solid, yeah.
Yeah, I think if that chance where he headed over the bar had fallen to Colby Bishop, it probably would have been slightly different.
Yeah, I agree. I think that that was where Luton Town finally got a little bit of luck because, I mean, looking at the replay, he was literally heading it on the 6-yard line and somehow has managed to put it a yard over when it didn't look like it was over. He was overstretching for it.
He's quite short. I don't think he had the height to sort of get up
and nod it down. Yeah. But they would have been gutted that it landed to him, to be honest with you. But like I say, bag it and take it.
The positioning, the way he got into positions, he was pushing so far forward.
Yeah.
He did well.
Yeah, I thought he was a good player.
Yeah, right. So we were actually going to talk about recruitment and who we want to see leave in the summer, because regardless of what's happened this year, there's got to be, while reflecting on Gary Sweet's programme notes, I think even he knows it needs to freshen up. It needs to be changed.
Yeah.
We can start from pretty much the top of the
Well, if it's all right, Ollie, you're far more clued into this particular thing to me, but if it's all right to just get on my soapbox for just 90 seconds, perhaps. I was wondering about your opinion on our recruitment. And what I mean by that is where we're dipping into, what markets we're dipping into, because more recently, one of our recruitment team that has come in has been
Sajjad.
Yes, he's come in and we've been trying to sort of look into the Belgian, the Dutch, the sort of Scandinavian markets. And one of the things that I had been reflecting on with a couple of fellow fans recently was about are we trying to be potentially a little bit too clever by tapping into certain markets that think that we can get like we used to? So where we would dip into the lower English leagues, are we looking abroad trying to tap into that particular market? But ultimately, is it right to be doing so? And what I mean by that is, are these markets that we're looking to tap into equivalent to Championship level, Upper League One level, or are we ultimately spending our money in an ill-advised way? Because he's got links. I was looking it up recently, Sajjad, about like working with Chelsea, working with Arsenal. He was apparently quite influential with the Raul Walters transfer, and
that worked out.
Yeah, and this that's my point, is that when I start looking at some of these players that we've got, Fanny, however you want to pronounce it, I apologise, but he's not getting near the team, and he was sort of like lauded as one of these. He's going to be the saviour of the second half of the season at one point. He's very highly rated, but obviously isn't fancied by Bloomfield, or it just isn't up to speed yet. Nordas, for me, just doesn't hit the eye quite right. And I said about this earlier on with how certain footballers, they just, regardless of what their output is, sometimes it just doesn't hit the eye quite right. And for me, Nordas looks very sort of like, I know it's because he's tall, but he looks very sort of like he runs from the hips. He's sort of like, seems to bop along.
This is like Fergie not wanting to sign Isco because his head was too
or Jordan Henderson because he was too sort of in the hips, and he thought. But and I'm not a scout. Like I'm not going to sit here and say that I know better than a scout, than an actual professional scout. That would be wrong of me. But I've watched football all my life, right? And sometimes you look at a player and you kind of go, not sure. We'll see how it goes. Anyway. We've had plenty of footballers over the course of the years that haven't quite hit the eye right. Who was that centre back that we had that looked really, really scruffy when we were down in the conference?
Steve McNulty.
No, I know Steve McNulty, but we had another one. It'll come to me.
George Pilkington.
No, Pilks was fine. Pilks wore Adidas World Cups.
He
was
looked
good.
scruffy.
Yeah, really scruffy.
Ian Roper.
Somewhat, Roper.
Roper was League 2.
Yeah, League 2. Yeah. Roper, he was one of those ones where you're like, oh my God, his shirt doesn't even fit. Sort of. But yeah, sometimes...
He was a big boy, wasn't he?
He was. And like I say, sometimes it just... the eye doesn't hit right. So anyway, going back to my point, Nordas, I'm not particularly sort of feeling him. Walters, we've just said, I'm not particularly sort of feeling him. And I just feel like, are we tapping into a market that, are we trying to be clever? Like back in the mid-90s, Arsene Wenger came over for Arsenal and was tapping up the French market and getting the likes of Vieira and Anelka and stuff like that. But everyone else then went, oh, actually, we don't have to make domestic signings. We can go elsewhere.
Do you remember when Newcastle signed all those subpar Frenchmen?
Yeah.
Thinking they were doing an Arsenal.
Thinking they were doing an Arsenal, and then they just absolutely imploded. And it's one of those ones where I think, are we just late to the party and we're not really picking up actual little gems? Because to me, I would argue that none of them have set the world alight since we've signed them.
No,
look at now. Perhaps now we can go through the team and look at who we've bought and kind of go, actually, nobody, in my opinion, is setting the world alight for who we've got.
But conversely, to play devil's advocate, it is tough coming into a team that is really struggling. And yeah, I do think we are late to the party. Continental talent has been around, especially at this tier of football for many years, and even further afield. I look at the talent that some teams have brought in from Brazil. Like, our friends down the road, they brought in some ridiculous talent from Brazil and South America. That is a we've tried it with Zambrano, and we got lucky that we
dodged that bullet.
Off. But
who's the best? I would argue who's the best signing that we've made in the last the last two transfer windows. I'd probably say, even though we've only seen short amount of time of him on the pitch.
You're going to say Asgard?
No, I'm going to say Jones.
Oh, Isaiah Jones.
Because he's got championship experience, and we've gone from a league that he knows.
Yeah.
I think that Asgard's got potential.
We just can't fit him into the team.
We can't get him in there. And then I'm looking around at some of the other new. I mean, like I say, we've seen Makoso for like 90 minutes. No, sorry, about 135 minutes now. He played a half and a full game. And like I say, not disputing the fact that he could be fantastic, but like I say, very much a defender. But I like I say, I just look through, and obviously Cal Naismith is another fantastic sign that we've got back on loan. But the point is, we know Cal, and we know that he's a championship level defender, and we know what he brings. Who else are we looking at in terms of?
Yeah, to be honest, the recruitment has been very, very hit and miss. I'd say like it can be summed up with Daiki Hashioka, January. Yeah. Player from the Belgian league, Japanese international. Physically, he's not that good. Technically, he's not as good as a lot of the other Asian players that we've seen in the championship this season. Like you look at Bae Jun Ho. Yes, he's lightweight, but he's technically a brilliant player. Look at Sakamoto.
I was going to say
we'll talk about Sakamoto in Champ Chat. Hell of a player. Yeah. Hell of a technician as well. Well, where's our brilliant Asian player? Yeah. That's probably what we thought we were going to get when we were signing a Japanese international right back.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, when they think about Hashioka, they would say solid. As a defender, they would say solid. And that's about, and I'm thinking as a right back in a 4, because I don't think that he gives enough going forward as a wing back in a 5. So I've spoken at length about Hashioka, but the thing is, I perhaps naively went in a little bit hard on him, because then I didn't realise that some of the other ones that are going to come through, like I say, where
be so much worse, make Hashi look like a world.
Yeah, exactly. I look at Hashioka now, and he's gone up in my sort of like
new signing. He can't get in the team though.
He can't.
And so much so, we don't trust the fullbacks. Like we got no left back. We don't trust the fullback. We have switched back to the 3-5-2, just because there's no other way. But let's have a look at this. So I'm gonna read down the list, and you tell me
stay or go.
Keep or go.
Okay.
Tim Krul,
go.
Thomas Kaminski,
stay if we're in the Championship, go if we're in League One.
Oh, I disagree there. I think
a lot of people do. I think a lot of people
I had
think
a
he's
right
washed.
go at him yesterday.
He doesn't come out.
He didn't come off
It
his
does
line.
annoy me. It does annoy me.
He moves back faster than he goes
Yeah.
forwards.
Yeah.
Like
I think
he starts going and he's like, whoa,
I think he's shot for confidence because he doesn't know what his back line's going to be. Truth be told, we have so much change in the back line that I think that he never knows whether he's coming or going.
Well,
that's me being a bit. That's me being kind.
Communication has to happen.
Yeah, that's me being kind.
That's on the defenders, not on Kaminsky.
Yeah.
James Shea.
Oh, I don't want to see James Shea go. Let's face it, he doesn't get a lot of minutes, and
He's
I
a
think
good third choice goalkeeper.
He is, and he's one of the only links we've got to sort of our successful teams over the past.
We need to get rid of those links, though.
Yeah, but he's not been. I would argue he's not really been part of the last couple of seasons where it's tanked.
No.
So
it's like being here for like 9 years, played 100 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Victor Moses.
Go.
Cal Naismith, if we can get him on.
If I could keep Cal Naismith, I'd sign him in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tom Lockyer.
Go.
Yeah. Amari Bell.
Go.
Reece Burke.
Go.
Mads Anderson.
Go.
Daiki Ashioka.
Go.
Ted Mengi.
Go.
Mark McGuinness.
Keep.
Ruel Walters.
Go.
Joe Johnson.
Keep.
Chris Makose.
Keep.
Yeah, it's a lot of goes there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Jordan Clark.
Keep.
Marv Nakamba.
Go.
Liam Walsh.
Keep.
Tahith Chong.
Go.
Shandon Baptiste.
Go.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would take him. I don't think the glue factory would even take him.
No glue in these knees.
Yeah. These bones are insufficient for glue manufacture. Yeah, he couldn't even sound to pedigree chum. Alfie Doughty.
Keep.
Yeah, I don't think he'll want to stay though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's just signed a long-term big contract.
Yeah.
Fellow Asgard.
Keep.
Lamine Fanny.
I don't know. I mean, I just don't know.
We've got to keep him. I think he's a good player.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, keep, I guess.
Yeah. Colton Morris.
Again, this is league dependent for me. I think if we go down to League One, I'd keep him because I think he'd be absolutely monstrous in that league. But Championship-wise,
you said that about the Championship, mate.
Yeah, I did. But if we stay in the Championship, I'm not entirely sure. So I'll err on the side of keep.
Okay, Jacob Brown. if he took a greatly reduced salary, I'd
keep
we're
him.
paying him like a grand a week.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
I'll keep him under those circumstances.
Yeah, but I wouldn't keep him. Josh Bowler, if we could.
No, go.
No, yeah, barely seen anything of him.
Yeah.
Elijah Adebayo.
Go.
Isaiah Jones.
Keep. But we wouldn't.
Yeah, but I think if we go down, I think
he must have a clause. He must have a clause if we go down it.
He's pretty good.
He's excellent. Yeah, yeah.
Millie Ali.
Keep.
The eye test, Lassie Nordas.
No, go. But we will keep him because he's too fresh into the squad.
Yeah.
So
and Zach Nelson.
Keep.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of goes there.
There's a lot of goes, and I think that's an indicator as to where we're at, isn't it? It needs a complete refresh. There are certain ones in there where people will think that I'm mad for saying keep or go. Like there's people like Ted and Mengi, for example, where I said go quite confidently there. I just don't think he wants to be here,
yeah,
and that's my viewpoint. Is that there are different criteria whenever you say a certain name there, where it's what league are we in, but then a lot of it is attitude. I think when you think about how good Tahith Chong can be,
his best game at Kenilworth Road came for Birmingham.
Yeah, and he's had some good moments. And when Chong is playing and he's on the ball, I think we've got someone that can beat a man, someone that's pacey, someone that can make something happen. But a lot of the time it flatters to deceive, and again, it's that desire to refresh. I think that I can't remember who it is that said it, and I think that it could potentially be a fair few people that have said it over the course of the last couple of months. Is that anyone that's sort of really touched the squad in the Premier League and been a significant part? It was you, sorry. Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you credit there, because Ollie, like where they've endured that rot. We need to cut the rot out because it needs to go. I totally agree with you on that particular point. We really do need a reset. You didn't mention Pelly there.
Yeah, well, he's not on the squad list.
And again,
I think they said it in the press release when he was loaned out. He's gone. He's played his last game.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll play one more game, they said.
Right.
And I hope they do good by him.
I hope he gets a testimonial because
he
absolutely deserves it. No, and he absolutely deserves it, just to be absolutely clear on that. I would also happily give, I know that in terms of length of service, it hasn't been the same, but I would also give Tom Lockyer a testimonial and wish him not to play football again.
He can manage the team.
Yeah. You could just don't play football again, man. Just don't play football. I love you, Tom, but honestly, I just don't want to see you die on a pitch again. And I know that you've got your family to provide for. Just do something else in football, man. Come on.
So changing from that very grim the last thought I had about recruitment is a lot of our recruitment in recent times has been based around, have they torn us apart on the pitch? Tahith Chong, fellow Asgard, Carlton Morris, because he scored that great goal for Barnsley where he mazed it around the team and then dinked over James Shea or Sluga or whoever was in goal. Trying to think, who else? Shannon Baptiste. He had some good performances against us for Brentford.
Did you see that stat about him? About how many games he started in his career?
Yeah.
29, I think it was.
Yeah.
That is
it's pretty
atrocious.
telling, isn't it?
I mean, there's being effective off of the bench, but I mean, it beggars belief.
I know
that situation.
Jacob Brown has torn us apart in the past for Stoke. Isaiah Jones has torn us apart for Borough.
Yeah,
we need to just stop signing players. Oh yeah, they look
what
good
is that? Is that what our recruitment is every game, every time we play an opposition, is that a scouting opportunity? Is this one available? Is this one available?
I wonder if he could do that for us. But only if he gets the ball. Isaiah Jones has looked like a good player. I agree with you. I think he's definitely the best. Yeah, but he was also one of the early signings that we made. But I agree, he's like the best.
I just feel like he plays football with a smile on his face, and he may be playing football with a smile on his face because he knows that he's not going to be part of a team that goes down to League One if they indeed relegated. Do. Yeah, he was the only shining light in that game against Watford last week. Yeah, the only one. I mean, he looked like he just looks like he has fun playing football. And I've got a lot of time for that. I think that
absolutely rapid as well.
Oh. God, isn't he rapid? Yeah.
It's what we'd be missing.
He chased down a ball into the corner where the away fans were last week against Watford. And it was one where I think the vast majority of the players as well thought that's gone. And he still went, and he kept it on without sort of tapping it behind him.
No one was near him.
He was, no one was close to him. And he made it with about a yard to spare. I mean, the guy is properly far. It reminded me of when we were at Fulham away.
Oh, yeah, Chio, when he
Chio just went. That's probably the fastest I've ever seen a human being move in real life. I've never been to an athletics meet, but he was. And Izzy is about as fast as I've seen on a pitch. So he's a shining light. But like I said, unfortunately, I just can't see that if we go down, I can't see him staying with us. But on the positive side, we're not going down, are we, Ollie? We're not going down. We've got 3 points.
This week,
we're 22nd. The big worry that I have is that Plymouth have got Hull this week,
and they both lose.
They've just they've just come off of a tiring afternoon at the Etihad yesterday. Are Plymouth going to have anything about them to go and stop Hull from winning? Because if they win, 5 point gap remains, and it looks really, really bleak again. So. Yeah, it's difficult at the minute.
Yeah, look, you can only play the games that are ahead of you. We'll see what happens. We will. But that's us done for this week in the Brickies. And let us know in the comments, who would you keep, who would you let go from the Luton squads, regardless of, you can tell us who you'd keep, who you'd let go in League One or the Championship. As always, big thank you to our host, Bricklayer's Arms. Great beer, great company, and they have what is it? Crapioke?
Yeah, crapioke on Tuesday night.
On Tuesday night, yeah. Get on down for some crapioke.
They've got a spring beer festival coming up as well.
Sweet. It's a good place. It's a lot of fun. It's right next to the station. Wherever you are in the country, come on down to the Brickies. If you're a Luton fan, get on here on match days, and you'll see some of Piper's artwork up on the wall as well. And also a big thank you to the record shop in Amersham who sponsored this pod. Get on down to the record shop in Amersham for your vinyl, your CDs, your guitars, and thank you to our audio partners, Black Star Amplification, for the equipment that lets us do this podcast, and we have a lot of fun with it. But everyone, take care. 3 points.
3 points.
Yeah.
Come on, you guys.
Yeah.